how people can look at you and formulate this idea in their mind and make you like a villain.
It's too much required to be difficult on purpose. And again, unless you're just a miserable person and that's just your personality. If you're looking for somebody to tell you things that might make you feel like I'm being difficult, I'm definitely your guy because I don't sugarcoat anything.
The human race is divided in two distinct sexes, male and female. While the typical man is a simple creature, there exists a subgroup, the nice guy, a dying breed of chivalrous, romantic, domesticated gentlemen whose qualities are desired by the opposite sex, allegedly. However, they are dismissed and confined in such concepts as the bestie, work husband, and the dreaded friend zone. Joe, Jason, and Manny are the last of the nice guys.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Happy Valentine's Day, Happy Mother's Day, Happy Father's Day, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Chanukah. Thank you for tuning in to the Last of the Nice Guys podcast. I'm apparently your host.
You missed one very important other holiday.
Kwanzaa?
Yeah, I was like, are you racist against your own people, bro? What's going on here? Sorry, keep going.
I'm not racist against my own people. Okay, they just I gotta step it up, you know what I'm saying? Zulu Nation.
We're in a country divided, goddammit.
That's right. That's right. Thank you for tuning in to Last of the Nice Guys podcast. I'm Jason, that's Manny, and today's topic is, are you hard to deal with? Now, it's a very broad conversation or a very broad topic, and it's inspired by a conversation Manny and I had almost it's almost a year ago. No, over a year ago, May 17th, 2022. That's when I sent this to myself. Why do I bring this up? So we had a conversation. Manny reconnected with a friend, and I don't really remember how my name got brought up, but it did get brought up. And the guy basically said to the effect, you know how Jason is, you know, he's difficult, and stop me if I'm paraphrasing this wrong. Manny did not, I wouldn't say he defended me, but he was more like realistic about it. From what I remember, he said, I mean, is he though, or is he just asking for the bare minimum and you just weren't like kind of like complying, and because he called you out on it, that's why you think he's difficult? And that's basically the gist of it. I mean, it wasn't more so, oh man, he's defending Jason. It was just being practical. This is it. I mean, he wasn't saying anything that wasn't actually true. I didn't take offense, but I was just like, wow, how people can look at you and formulate this idea in their mind and make you like a villain. You know, we had this topic before. Are you the villain in someone else's story? Mm-hmm. But
I just reposted that.
There you go. Wow. See, look at that synergy. So I find it funny. It's like, how can you call me difficult when all I was asking you was to fulfill your commitment that you agreed to, that you changed, that you shifted over, and needless to say, me and this individual, we don't talk. We're not really cool like that.
We don't really talk anymore.
We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore like we used to do. I did this on a different podcast. People are like, come on, get over yourself. So yeah, I find it interesting. Like, so I actually had to ask myself, because for him to say this, like I have a bunch of former friends that would say this, that I'm difficult. Absolutely. Because Jason, as he is now, he says it's very, very simple. I don't suffer fools anymore. I don't have to deal with you, just like you don't have to deal with me. Clearly, I don't ask you to deal with me, and I'm not going to deal with you. If there's something that's undesirable. And I expect you to call me out on my shit, and I will call you out on your shit. And it's not anything more than just literally, you said you're going to do A, you did not do A. Hey, you didn't do A. So
you're not doing it maliciously. You're doing it for the sake of doing it.
Thank you. I'm doing it. I'm just being real about it. You know, I'm calling it like I see it, and I expect the same to be done to me. And I've said this many times. I don't mind as long as you're being specific. You can't be generalizing me. You can't be saying you're being a shithead. Well, what did I do? But if you have specific examples, bring it up. I'm all about that. But at the same time, understand that if you're fucking up, I'm gonna say something. And that in itself seems to make me seem difficult and hard to deal with. I'm pretty sure my kid's mom and her mom probably think I'm super difficult. Why? Because I'm not agreeable with their fuckery. I don't co-sign with their fuckery. So they probably think I'm difficult. And I know for a fact in the past she thought I was difficult because sometimes I said, I don't agree with your fucking decision. Or I think you're, whatever. So, you have to ask yourself, are you hard to deal with, or are the people that surrounding you just not a good fit for you, have grown mentally? Manny, let me ask you a question, because I'll answer the question. I don't think I'm hard to deal with. I think I'm actually very straightforward. You get what you get what you give, period. Manny, do you think you're hard to deal with?
It depends on.
That's a good answer. That's a real honest answer. I said no, but he's being more honest than me probably.
It depends on who you're talking to. And the reason why I say that, the reason why I say that is
see, the question is though, all right, when it says are you hard to deal with, when it says are you hard to deal with, it's basically saying, are you purposely difficult? Are you difficult for difficult's sake? That's pretty much what I think the question means, So I get what you're saying when you say it depends on who you're with. So I guess to reframe the question with these is whether or not you consider yourself purposely difficult perfectly difficult with certain people. Me personally, I don't think so. I think I'm pretty consistent across the board. I'm sorry I'm laughing. I'm just really thinking about all the people who probably would be listening to this and saying, fuck you, Jason, you are ridiculous and uncompromising. But in reality, I'm not. I really am not. I talk a big game, but I'll do that. But I don't think I am needlessly difficult. So Manny, back to you. So when I'm asking, are you difficult to do with, the question is, are you purposely difficult with people then? If that's a better question. I don't know.
Again, it depends on who you are. Because
but in general, do you think you're hard to deal with?
No. I mean,
okay. I'm
generally I'm too laid back to care to be difficult with people, because that takes a lot of energy to purposely be difficult, unless you're just a miserable person overall. But it's too much energy, it's too much required to be difficult on purpose. And again, unless you're just a miserable person and that's just your personality.
And we're not even pretend like we can just pause this recording. So we paused it, guys, and hoping that we would remember. But I continued watching a show. I don't remember what he said. All right, so
I made a good solid point, but I don't remember.
You did make a good solid point, and we stopped it right there.
But however, as
you were explaining, right? Carry on.
As far as being difficult for the sake of being difficult, like I said, if you're miserable, then whatever, that's what people are. But unless you're miserable and you're not, like, I think we were talking about me being difficult.
No, basically what I think we didn't get the answer to was we asked you in general. You said when did I become plural? Oh,
it's 2023, bro.
I know it's current year. Okay, how dare you? Let me stop. Let me not even get to that. No, we come to a consensus that you were not difficult to deal with, and then I said, okay, well, let's drill down. Let's get a little deeper. Are you purposely difficult with in general? You said,
and then I said again, it depends on
right, and so that's pretty much where we were.
Generally, I'm too laid back to even care to be, because yeah, I was saying something about there. It's a lot of energy to be negative and
Mhm.
yada yada yada. So unless you're a miserable person, that's just who you are normally. Then obviously whatever. But I'm not difficult to deal with on my own. I mean, I only
I'm
require.
sure your ex would call him
I don't
differently.
really care what any of them say, but but the
My sentiments exactly.
my thing is like, I'm not a difficult person for the sake of being difficult. However, if you make the situation more difficult than it needs to be, then
Mhm.
obviously I'm going to lash back at it, because you know there's no reason for the difficulty. Like, it's nonsense. And when you're in a relationship, you're supposed to be progressing together, not at each other's throats trying to figure out who's going to be the dominant force of the relationship. That's just petty and stupid, and I find it just a complete waste of fucking time. So I'm, like I said, I'm too laid back to even consider myself to be difficult. Now, if you're looking for somebody to tell you things that might make you feel like I'm being difficult, I'm definitely your guy, because I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't I tell you how it is. And I've been like that since the day that I can remember of being that way.
Mhm.
Um but I've always been a fan of, and I've always told people, if you don't want my opinion and you don't want the truth to come out of my mouth, don't ask me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um because I feel like I mentioned this before in a previous or yeah previous episode, that a lie is like a baby. You have to formulate the lie,
Mhm.
and then you
Mhm.
have to feed that lie and consistently maintain that lie for as long as that lie needs to be alive for. And I find that to be positively draining, mentally draining, physically draining, everything draining. It just makes no sense. So therefore, if people want to deem me a difficult person because I'm just brutally and bluntly honest, I'm sorry, but not sorry at the same time.
All right. Well,
So,
then
like I said,
let's drill that down then, because why do people like you more than me? So okay, so you're brutally honest um when it's solicited. I've
yes,
gotten to the point though where I'm brutally honest unsolicited. In other words, you know, if it basically what you're saying is somebody says, hey, Manny, am I fucking up? You're like, yeah, you're fucking up. However, I would be like, will walk right up to you and say, you're fucking up. And that's where the disconnect is with me and my increasingly shrinking circle of people, because I don't I don't like it. It drives me nuts. And again, I expect it for me. Is that where you don't cross that line, where if somebody, let's say it could be some kind of agreement between you two, superficial or otherwise, are you one to be like, yo, you're not fulfilling your shit, what's up?
I'm definitely not afraid to do that either. However, I make sure, like, that's one of, like, coming into a friendship or any part of my life, that is something that's understood. I bring that up from the very beginning. Like I just said, if you don't want my honesty and my brutally honest opinion, don't ask for it. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, if I do see something, I'm definitely going to call you out on your bullshit. Do you understand that? Like, it's like kind of one of those like NDA type situations where it's
Yeah,
like,
you know what? It doesn't work because anybody knows me. I've had many different I don't know, principles or ideals or concepts or ideologies when it comes to dating. And one of them was, yo, uh, I told you up front, like, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and this is what takes up my time, this is what doesn't take up my time. And these women will initially be like, yeah, 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 I'm all about that. It's I feel you, and then of course they change their mind. And it's the same thing with clients. Same thing. I'll meet with a new client and I'll say, hey, check it out. This is what's happened in the past. I'll work with you, but don't waste my time. No, I'm not like that. I won't just disappear on you like your other clients before, and boom, ghosted. Friends, same thing. Listen, all I ask is that you participate. If you're gonna join, or you're gonna 1 hour a week, you can do that. Yeah, 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 yeah. I totally agree. I totally understand. And then you fall off, and then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy. So, when I sit there and say, yo, what's up? And I'm not saying you can't renege on a decision. Everything changes. But what I'm saying is when you just don't communicate whatsoever. So,
Right. And that's one thing that I've noticed is lacking. And I'm not just saying in this particular situation or scenario, I'm just saying generally
yeah,
speaking.
generally.
Things happen in people's lives, and as long as you just open that communication, like, hey, this is what it is, this is what's going on. I mean, shit, you and I have had open conversations about things that we go through, and
Yeah.
that's why we've been lacking in our content.
Exactly.
But we're not at each other's throats like you
No,
piece of.
okay, I want to be very, very
As a
clear.
matter of fact, you're still trying to take me out like on a little.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, but that's what I'm saying. So here we go. Let's say this is a very similar role to the scenario with the former friend that I brought up. Same situation. Life got in the way allegedly, and you just stopped communicating. You could tell that our content has been lacking. And in this podcast and the other podcast, I have not pressured or yelled at or demanded of this man anything. Why? And I wouldn't in general, but he's got stuff going on. And I totally understand because he communicated it to me. I didn't have to sit there and say, yo, the hell, what's going on? All I ever say is, whatever time you can give me, I appreciate it. That's literally what I say.
And I'm still doing the other stuff.
Right, exactly. And you're still doing the other stuff. So what I'm saying is that this is what I'm talking about. Is that am I difficult? Are you saying or claiming that I'm difficult because I'm not just letting it slide. Oh, he's a great guy. Let it slide. Let it slide. Like no. We have another friend. And there's another former friend attached to him tangentially, and he recognizes that this particular friend is full of shit, literally full of shit, full of things. But because he's a great guy, though, I really like him. He sticks around with the guy and still hangs out with him, so communicates him. I don't, and the guy will be like, come on, man, he's, I still really like him, and life is whatever. I said, that's great, but I'm not saying he's a bad guy because I called him out on his shit. I'm just saying that his reaction was his reaction to it. And it was nothing that I said wrong. I've always said it very clear on this podcast. There's nothing wrong with calling an orange. Even if the orange doesn't want to be called an orange, you are orange. That's it. I mean, that's how I operate. And I'm not one of those pot collar kettle black people, or I'm not one of those can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. I'll take it. Just understand that when you bring it to me, make sure you have your facts straight, because I will defend myself. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I have no problem with being wrong as long as you give me the facts, or at least enough credible information of that to contradict what I'm saying. I'm saying it has to be a debate. Well, no, I am saying it has to be a debate. I'm saying it doesn't have to be an argument, it has to be a fight. But that's how it is. I'm stubborn to a point. Once presented with new information where I can see, oh, okay, I see your side and I can identify, okay, maybe I screwed up or maybe I am messing up. Cool. No muss, no fuss. But I'm going to do the same to you. And I'm going to expect you to be grown up and be like, hey, you're right, I can do better. Or, hey, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm done. I'm out. And that's what most of them do. But they don't do it like that. They just disappear. Or they put me in a position where I have to like flip out on them because I'm like, what's going on here? Why is this happening? So, but is that being difficult, or is that just being too real? Are we just too, is it that we're too real for you? We're too real? Is that what it is? You want somebody who just, ignores the nonsense? I mean, you can get that. It's never been me. Well, no, it has been me in the past, but it's really not me now. So it's a good question. And I ask you, audience, look at yourself, look at the people that are considered your frenemies, your enemies, or the people you don't talk to now. Think about whose stories you're the villain in, and wonder, are you difficult to deal with? Or is it that, you have a certain set or ideology, or dare I say principles, and these principles mean something to you? I'm not saying some big philosopher or big intellectual, no, but what I am saying though is that you can't call somebody difficult just because they're calling you out on your objective shit. It's not an opinion, it's objective. You didn't do, you said you were gonna do A, you didn't do A, so we're calling you out, and you're upset at being called out for not doing what you were supposed to do, or what you agreed to do, or what you volunteered to do without communication. In the end, it's communication. It really is. Now that I think about it, it's what you said, Manny. It's communication. But and I guess in our situation, or specifically mine, I communicate too much and too honest. That's what it is. Too much communication for me, and I am too honest. And again, I have no problem with you dishing it right back to actually, a friend of mine did dish it back to me, where she made it very clear that I made her feel X number about a way. I was, I would ignore her text messages, or I would respond late. She basically told me to my face, I'm a bad friend. And when I listened, and mind you, I didn't really recognize this like that. And when I listened to her, and I kind of was like, shit, you're right. I am a bad friend. I wasn't there when you needed me. I actively ignored you, put you on the back burner. You're absolutely right. And I apologized. Absolutely. And I'm telling you, when I say it was shame on you, I had no excuse. And then I chose to make a concerted effort to be more present. It's literally called Operation Be Present. And I've been doing this for like, what, a year or so now. This is an older situation. But when it was presented to me and I was called out on my shit, I accepted it, because honestly, she was absolutely right. She was. I'm not saying that we're all clairvoyant, but when somebody is telling you this is what it is, and you realize that is actually what it is, you're gonna yell and make yourself out to be the victim and say, oh, well, I didn't do anything to you. I told you what was what. You chose to react the way you chose to. You chose to either walk away, end the friendship, whatever it was, end the association. This is how it is, and it's a level of maturity that's missing in people today. So, are you difficult, or are you just too real? Are you difficult, or are you too honest? Are you difficult, or do you hold people in your life to a higher standard? And when you try to, make them achieve that standard in your life, you're seen as difficult, mean, thoughtless, combative, difficult, disgruntled, toxic. I mean, I'm thinking of all these adjectives. Now, mind you, not all these are referring to me or even Manny. I'm just saying this is what I've heard when people, go these routes. Some people are difficult to deal with. Some people are hard to deal with. But it all depends upon what exactly you're referring to. Manny.
Right, but the other part of it is not just what you said, but it also has to do with the amount of accountability.
Ooh,
one of those people.
I did not bring that up.
One of those people like to deal with, because the other thing is, if you don't hold yourself accountable for how somebody is reacting to a situation, knowing or unknowing that you're part of the problem, or not even considering that you're the problem, the lack of accountability is also going to be part of the issue, which makes the situation difficult, and the other person, quote unquote, looking like they're being difficult as a difficult person. And
you're absolutely right.
That's part of it. The accountability is a big part of it. Like, it's communication and accountability. If you are blindsided and you're not, dare I say, woke, but not woke like today's woke crowd.
Jesus Christ.
Awake.
Lord help us. Awake
to the point where you are just unaware.
You mean self-aware?
Yeah, like self-awareness.
Self-aware.
If you're not self-aware to, the thing that you're going through. Because listen, not everybody can look at themselves outside the box. That's one of the main issues.
But we're not asking for that, though.
No.
We're asking to identify it when somebody is looking at your box and saying, hey, look, there's some smudges there. You want to check it out?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That person being asked to look at their box, that sounds so dirty. I
want to give you some box later on. So
I'm going to get me a box of nuggets. When that person who's being asked to look at their box, if they are not aware and self-aware enough that, that they could be part of the issue, that's where the lack of accountability comes from. That's why, a major part of what I like to talk about with people is, take constructive criticism or criticism on its own at face value. Think about it. Think about why it's being said. Think about what caused it to be said. Don't take it as it's a negative thing, unless it's obviously coming from a negative person that's just trying to bring you down. But if it's coming from somebody that actually cares about you and cares for your well-being, set aside yourself and be like, just start thinking to yourself, like, maybe I need to look at things differently when it comes to life itself, because there are a lot of times where we're blinded by
the light.
In our lives, and other people see it before other people see it.
Blinded by the light.
Other people see it that we don't, and that only is because they're not in our same mindset. They're not in the same stuff that we're in. They see things differently. That's why you have all these inspirational people.
Yep.
On social media, talking about this, talking about that, whatever, yada 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 yada.
Well, everybody's more receptive to a positive, uplifting message.
Right.
What we're talking about is being real.
The negative part of it.
It's not even negative.
Not negative, but
it is perceived.
Negative.
Exactly. It's perceived as negative, but you're just being real. You're just being real. There's no other way to say it. I'm real. No. I'm just saying it's being real. Being a realist. And unfortunately, in this day and age, being a realist is, synonymous with being negative. and if the world sucks, the world sucks. No, it's just the world sucks. That's the realism. You know what I'm saying? Optimism is great. It's great. Negative and what's the other word? Pessimism can also be great, honestly, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just the bare bones realistic. I'm walking down the street, not I'm walking down the street and I tripped, or I'm skipping down the road. I'm just walking down the street. Or
I'm walking down the street, but I identify the street as something else.
Exactly. I'm walking on the street, but it identifies as a pathway. So, we're gonna get canceled. Oh my god.
Basically, what my whole thing is, everybody's on their own journey. Everybody has a different journey. And this is just me being one of those openly. I've never been a spiritual person in my life, and I hated the idea of even considering it. But a lot of the things that people go through are mental. And unless you have that inner connection with yourself mentally and spiritually, you are going to be a deranged and miserable individual. And I say individual because, there's 2023 and everybody likes to see themselves differently nowadays.
Exactly.
So unless
I love politically correct Manny. He's a fucking joke. Sorry.
However, if you are completely disconnected from yourself in that manner, you are going to be a very difficult person to be dealing with.
Yes. On
either side of the equation. So if you're unwilling to know who you are and you're conflicted on who you are as a person, it gets in the way a lot. And honestly, some people learn slower than most. Some people learn too quickly, that the rest of the world can't figure it, or the rest of the world can't handle it too quickly.
Right.
A lot of things happen, and that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, being difficult is not always bad, and it's not always negative. It's not always like you just said. It's not negative. It can be perceived as negative, but it's not something negative. That's why I said, take a beat, take a breath, think about why it was said, and reflect on yourself. And then we can all start leaving this world now. We can all start leading into a positive, more mindful, less war, more love, atmospheric.
I think you lost the thread there.
Yeah, I did. I just kept going with words.
No, I was like, where is he going with this?
We all can start loving each other more and stop being divisive.
I don't give a shit about loving each other more. I'm just like, accept the truth, or accept the reality, or just be oh my God, receptive or open-minded. Open-minded, really. I'm more concerned with just being open-minded. You don't have to love each other. Just be open-minded and be able to, speak your mind, and be able, and have someone else's mind spoken to you, and be able to have that discord. And if you don't, and it's okay that if somebody is real with you, and comes out at you, and you don't agree, you don't have to agree. You don't have to. You have the conversation, you agree to disagree, and you walk away. Clear as day. But it doesn't make you hard to deal with. It doesn't make shouldn't be the problem. If you split amicably after having that conversation, having that ability to have the discussion after being called out. I think the reason is that the times that I've called out, former friends, or former associates, or former colleagues, or former creative partners, it's because I said it. I would I would call them out, but in a very mundane way, over and over and over again, and either see no change, or dismissal, or very little to no response, and it would pile up, and eventually I would just, like, I wouldn't say explode by yelling, but then I would just be really real and be like, "Yo, this isn't it," and I would come at them sideways in a way, and they will then act like it came out of nowhere, and when in reality, I've been talking to you about this for several weeks.
And
several
again,
months.
That's where
Push me to a point where I'm just like, you're not giving a shit.
That's where the inability of being self-aware comes in.
Right. But no, I don't think it's because self-awareness means that you're willing to see it in yourself. At least being receptive to other people's words about how they perceive you, being receptive to how people perceive you. I'm not saying you have to accept it as reality. Not so, because if it's true, then I'm probably the worst father in the world if I accepted some people's perception of me. I'm just saying, it would suck. And they know who they are. So it's not about shade the shade, but it's not about self-awareness. It's about being open to other perceptions, because how we perceive ourselves is how other people perceive us. Be open to it. Listen to it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to let it penetrate your person. But if you have the ability to discuss it, absolutely. And if not, move on with your life. To be able to hear these criticisms and hear these words, and sure, feel your feelings. Don't make them control you. I'm not against not feeling your feelings. But what I am saying, though, is that somebody's not hard to deal with because they speak their mind openly to you. Especially if their intention is not to insult you, belittle you, put you down, I don't know, lie on you. No, that doesn't make them hard to deal with. Hard to deal with is somebody, it are those people, emotionally manipulative, gaslighting, pathological liars, manipulators of the truth.
I think if you do not have at least one friend in your life, or one person in your life that doesn't tell you
the real deal, not only are you living in a fantasy, you don't have real friends. Say that again. Say that again. Say it again.
I feel that if you don't have at least one person in your life that doesn't tell you what's real and what's not, and they give you the brutally honest truth of certain things in your life, you're living in a fantasy world and you don't have real friends.
It's funny you said it, because my phrase is the same thing, but that means nobody loves you. It sucks when I say this, but somebody who loves you, really truly cares about you, is going to throw it in your face with the best intentions. Is going to say, listen, I don't think that's what are you doing? That's a real friend. You're absolutely right. That's the real deal. But that's also like real love. It's like when I and it's a shame when I do this. When I walk outside and see, they probably look at me sometimes the same way, sideways as well. But you see somebody outside and they're looking a hot mess, like a hot mess. And I said, yeah, nobody loves you. Because if somebody loved you, they wouldn't have let you walk out of the house like that.
Right.
That's a very generalized way of what we're trying to say. Is that because usually they probably walked out and said, "Oh, girl, you look good," or "Dude, you looking smash it." No, that's not real friendship. Where they just didn't say, "Oh, you can do better next time. It's okay." No, it's, bitch, you dropped a really good guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the truth, and the truth hurts. But nobody grows when they are pandered to.
Yep.
I'm being honest with you. Nobody grows when you're pandered to. It's like I want somebody to come up to me like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? That's not smart. No, it doesn't mean you have to listen to them. It doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean you need to be able to hear it and have a conversation. Period. And it's funny you say that because it's absolutely true. If nobody's telling you like it is, because if they don't tell you like it is, they don't care about you. It's just superficial.
Right.
And if that's what you want in your life, go for it. But that's not the kind of friend I've ever been. It's not the friend that Manny is either. And that's why the circles have gotten smaller, because they want, oh my God, he said this, but didn't I tell you why'd you get back with him again? Like, we talked about this. This doesn't make any sense. I don't want to hear this shit. Move on, kind of a thing. It sounds heartless. It sounds inconsiderate, or saying, or unsympathetic. But no, why is it unsympathetic to be like, you get with the art, you do something, and you know that there's negative consequences when you do it. Like that there's a potential, and those negative consequences happen, and you come back and complain about those negative consequences. We're supposed to be like, it's gonna be okay, it's all right. No, we're gonna say, but didn't you know? Didn't you see the signs? The signs are right there. I could have sworn you saw them signs. You're fully in control, so no, you're not getting any sympathy. If you're speeding, you hit a car, no sympathy. If you're driving below the speed limit, you get hit by a car, sympathy. It's two different things. Sense of accountability. You're absolutely right. Manny hit it on the head. I didn't even think about that. The sense of accountability.
That's why I'm Dr. Manny, God damn it.
Well, you've been you retired, or your PhD got revoked, something like that. I don't know. His medical license is in review, gentlemen.
I'm besides myself because Dr. Phil retired.
He did?
Yes.
I'm not. See, when was this? This is recent?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
I'm besides myself.
I think that Cash Me Outside chick is what really broke him, probably. She has an OnlyFans apparently.
And it's not. Oh, never. Stop.
Okay. I mean, I don't know anything about it. I just kind of like saw an article about it. I was like, oh, look at that. Get that money, honey. So, but that's what I'm saying though, is that that's what it is. So when you ask yourself, are you difficult to deal with? Or are you hard to deal with? What does that mean? And again, this only comes up because, a friend or a former friend, or, literally said, it's hard to deal with me. And I'm just like, really, me? I'm hard to deal with? Y'all motherfuckers are hard to deal with. I'm sorry. I'm just being real. And so I just found it, and it's so funny, when you hear something and you don't get upset, you don't get happy, it literally just throws you off. You're just like, wow, that's, and I did. I took a moment to reflect on that after our conversation. After Manny was like, yo, that's not really true, but whatever. But I did take a moment. I had to. I said, wow, how many other people in my life consider me hard to deal with? And I was like, that's interesting. It's an interesting concept to think about. And I did think about it. I eventually came to the conclusion that I can see where I'm perceived like that, because I'm really blunt, and it's an acquired taste. I can be fun. Like Manny and I, we're each other's spirit animals. So, difference is he's significantly handsomer, and he can do voices, but and taller, significantly taller too. So, but that's just the thing. It's just really weird. Like, have you ever, before we wrap this up, have you ever like had a moment where you ask yourself, is it me? I mean, I think we all have, but you're not the typical anything. So
I think we all have it at some point in time, and I'm pretty sure I may have in the past with just romantically.
Yes.
I don't think I've been that person when it comes to my friends and people that consider me to be their friends, because I mean, I don't know what it is. Call it the gift of gab, call it a different kind of understanding.
I like how you phrase that, with my friends and those that consider me to be their friend. You think I didn't peep that? Yo, check it out, man. He just said you might think he's your friend, but it's one-sided, boo-boo. So just peep that, everybody. He said my friends and those that can be considered me their friends.
Because listen, and the only reason why I say that is because there are people out there in the world that use that term very loosely. You may have had one conversation with them.
Uh-huh.
That's my friend.
Okay.
Okay. What else do you know about them? I don't know. So how the fuck is he your friend? Because we talked once. and they use that term very loosely. So that's why I say not people, not like in your case, like you just said, yeah, you better rethink and look at how this is working out for you. It's just there's a lot of people that use that loosely.
No, I'm not judging you, because I use a phrase very similar when I was talking to someone. I was telling a story about one of the girls, and I said, listen, so when I was dating this girl, but she wasn't dating me. And they said, wait.
I've had that before.
Roll that back. I said, what? I didn't realize how odd it sounded, but that's how I would say. I was dating her. She was not dating me. And the person couldn't wrap their mind around it. I'm like, you've never been with somebody and you thought that you were in a relationship or you were dating them, but in reality, they weren't really dating you. They kind of just like were going with the flow until something else came around. And like, that's just the best way I could explain it.
So I can't agree that I've had that. What I've had is a particular two different incidents.
Yeah, but you're a heartbreaker, so it was different.
Because I don't care.
They were dating you, and you weren't dating them.
No,
saying I was dating her. She wasn't dating me.
On two separate occasions.
Heartbreaker.
On two separate occasions, I dated individuals that only liked me.
Were they women?
They were women.
Yeah, I didn't say. Why did you say individuals?
I mean, they might not identify as women now, but I don't know.
Okay.
But
I love going on dates with individuals.
But they only liked me at certain mindsets.
Okay, now you're gonna roll that shit back to me. What? What do you mean by that?
They had to be drunk.
Oh,
right. So sober them was kind of conflicted on what they wanted, and should we put our toe in the water? Should we not? Let's just take a couple of steps back. But then once that liquid courage entered their system,
right, the inhibitions, and it's just like
they jumped into that ocean full of sharks and was just like, let's go all in. And then waking up the next day back into the stairs of the shallow end. Yeah, very weird situation, but you know, whatever. That was difficult to deal with. Yes.
But that's different. That's dealing with a difficult person. That's dealing with a that's somebody that's hard to deal with, somebody who's wishy-washy. That's different. If you're wishy-washy, man, you got no chance in hell with me. I mean, friendship-wise, colleague-wise, romantically, you got no chance with me in hell these days. I am quick. And it's funny, I watch Evan preach. They're literally my idols at this point. That's why I want to like literally steal their format. And we're gonna keep it real, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when we start doing our spinoff, watch The Spoken Word Presents Two Dudes Talking Shite. Coming soon. He had mentioned this one story where, oh my God, I think I lost the thread. What was the story he told? Where were we talking about?
Difficult situations, being difficult people.
He brought up something that was gonna be great. I lost the thread. I shouldn't have. That's what I get for trying to plug a different brand in a different brand. It was gonna be a great thread. I was going down. Gosh darn it. But anywho, so yeah, shout outs to them because they're great. I've got to get. I mean, I don't know about Preach. I don't see Preach really jumping on other people's stuff, but I was all about it. So I think we should like try. Why not? He seems to be all about it. He's about it, just jumping on. So we might as well reach out and say, hey, listen, can we talk about something and laugh and like make googly eyes at you or something? But damn it,
googly eyes. Interesting.
I may not have a YouTube crush on that dude. He's funny as fuck. So
he is funny.
He has good content and like I've been, believe it or not, oh my God, it's ridiculous. I've been trying to. I don't know if you know about you, but he gets this like Ugandan accent. And he goes,
He's Ethiopian or something, right?
I don't know. I think he's
some
from
weird. I
is it
think you
Ghana or
mentioned that
something?
once.
I think it's Ghana or something. I don't remember because I know somebody anyway. But he does this thing, and I no joke. Whenever I get a chance, I'm practicing it. He says, "It is a sickness." And
It is a sickness.
yes, I can't do it though. He does it. I've been trying to do it. I love it. It is a sickness, and it is hilarious when he does it. Because that's what he says when he listens to some pure fuckery. He's like, "You woke up and you choose violence. It is a sickness." It's great, and I've been practicing that friggin' phrase. I want to do it. I want to record it. I want to put it at the end of one of our closing audio for one of our shows. Thanks for tuning in to Last of the Nice Guys, and then it says, "Tune in at Viber Studios," and all you hear in the background is, "It is a sickness." But that's something I want to do. But I want to use my voice. I don't want to use his voice because, But
it is a sickness.
yes, but I want to use my voice. I want to learn to do voices, Manny. So
this is a lifetime achievement, sir.
Okay, I still got plenty of life. Okay, I'm a father of minors for another 6 months. I got plenty of life to live. Okay, I mean, you're a father of daughters. We get that. Woohoo for you. I might have been at the tail end of father of minors. So I guess we can wrap it up because you gave your final thoughts, and this is good. I think this is good. It kind of fell off the rails in the middle, and then the beginning and in the end. But that's we don't.
That's what we do.
It was what we do. That's what we do now because A, our original host is MIA. B, we record sporadically, so it's like greasing the wheels every time we sit down in front of the mic. But guys, thanks for tuning in to the Last of the Nice Guys podcast. I'm Jason. That is Manny. And remember, no, that's the wrong podcast. Thank you. I was going to say, remember, listen to everything, believe only what you can prove. I was going to do the wrong sign out. And thank you for your time.
The Last of the Nice Guys. Follow, like, and subscribe on Twitter and Instagram at Last Nice Guys, Facebook.com/Last Nice Guys, or email lastoftheniceguys@yahoo.com.